it holding you make until the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. Great. I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hawking, man, I'm hawking, man. That if you
Hey, shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ bless. Israel, Most High in Christ bless. This is Officer Jez, and to my left,
Officer Yakin.
Officer Manny.
we got
Officer Ari.
Officer Ari, a new addition for today. All praise to the Most High. And we have also
Officer Adon.
we got Officer Adon. All praise to the Most High. You are now tuned into our Hidden History Radio Show. All right. So today we're gonna last week we still in the Roman captivity, and we are still dealing with what was going on during the time of Christ's birth. What was the environment like during the time of Christ's birth and before Christ's birth? Now, previous episodes we dealt with the slave trade that happened in Rome. Okay, so in the Roman captivity, there was a slave trade of us. Okay, they had us on auction block. We dealt with all of that before in the previous episodes that you can go back and watch. But now, last week, 2 weeks ago, we dealt with the religions and philosophies that was also going on in ancient Rome, such as what you had the Epicureans, you had the Stoics, you had the Pharisees that was around during that time, the Sadducees. We also went back into how the Pharisees came about. Where they descend from, which was called the Assyrians when you read the book of Maccabees. All right, so we're still dealing with the environment that was going on upon the birth of Christ. We dealt with Caesar Augustus, Herod. All right, so we dealt with these various the emperors and so forth. Now we're going to take a different turn. We're still dealing with ancient Rome. Okay, so just flow with me. What we're going to do, we're going to go into what they were calling us, okay? Meaning what? What was the byword that they called us at that time? Because when you look in the books, when you read the books, you're not going to find Negro in ancient Rome, anything like that. You can put it in, but you're not going to find a book that says Negroes in ancient Rome or anything like that. Well, actually, we do have books that say Negroes in ancient Rome, but there was a term that they used to call us. There was a byword that they gave us, all right? And the byword was called Aethiop or Ethiopian, all right? So we're going to get into that today. We're going to break down what they called us at that time, Aethiop or Ethiopian, all right? So from there, let's get anything? Y'all got anything?
No, sir.
All right, let's get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. Because I want y'all to understand something. We're dealing with the Roman captivity. All right? So understand, all our captivities, the curses followed us. Up until now, even here in America, the curses followed us. All right? But watch this. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee.
So we will become an astonishment. We will become a proverb and a byword. Now I want to focus on a byword. Give me the definition of byword.
Byword. A word or phrase associated with some person or thing, a characteristic expression, typical greeting, or the like. A word or phrase used proverbially, common saying, proverb.
Okay. Jump down. All right, number 3. Watch this.
An object of general reproach.
So a byword, an object of general reproach. Read.
Derision.
Derision.
Scorn.
Or scorn. Now, get number 4.
An epithet.
An epithet.
Often of scorn.
Epithet often of scorn. So a byword is an epithet often of scorn. Look up now let's get epithet. Epithet.
Epithet. Any word or phrase applied to a person or thing to describe an actual or attributed quality. A characterizing word or phrase firmly associated with a person or thing and often used in place of an actual name, title, or the like.
Now watch number 3.
Number 3, a word, phrase, or expression used invectively as a term of abuse or contempt to express hostility.
So we understand that these curses. Now go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 37 again.
Verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee.
So we understand that byword is going into number 3. It says, no, go back to epithet.
A word, phrase, or expression used invectively as a term of abuse or contempt to express hostility.
So we understand that a byword or epithet is a term of abuse or contempt, all right, to express hostility. Now, from there, get me the first article. The first article, Roman perceptions of blacks.
Roman perceptions of blacks. The following article is pre-printed from Scholia NS2, 1994. Lloyd Thompson, Department of Classics, University of Ibadan, Nigeria.
All right, so go down. Go up. You go up. You can start the abstract real quick. Read that.
Abstract. Certain preconceptions about blacks in predominantly white societies have distorted modern visions of the ways in which Ethiops were perceived in Roman society.
So we want to focus on Ethiops. We want to focus on that word. That was a byword that they called us in the Roman captivity when we was in ancient Rome. So we're going to delve into that heavy today. All right, read it. Read that again.
Abstract. Certain preconceptions about blacks in predominantly white societies have distorted modern visions of the ways in which Ethiops were perceived in Roman society, resulting in much misinterpretation of the relevant texts. In Roman perceptions, categories like black African, white, paleface, and swarthy were neither communities nor socially defined races with ascribed group statuses.
Right. So the Roman perception category says like black, African, white, paleface, swarthy, or were neither communities nor they were socially defined races. So you didn't define a race by black, African, white, paleface, or swarthy, right? Read on.
Categorization was determined by the physical appearance of the individual person.
So ancient Rome, they went by the physical appearance, not by the race or anything like that. They didn't define, you didn't get these bywords by your race. You got it by your physical appearance or parentage or blood, right? Go down.
Not by parentage or blood. In a recent discussion of medium and message and objectivity in the translator, Peter Green saw a certain element of reality in questions as to whether the translator's objective should be to convey the alien quality of his original, however much violence that may do to the language into which he is translating and the culture it represents.
Right, go down. Let's get to the point. Juvenal, start at...
This discussion?
Yes, start there.
This discussion does not specifically touch upon the problem of transposing important alien concepts, and it no doubt explains Green's own English translation in the Penguin series of Juvenal's Loripedum Rectus Derediate, Ethiopium albus.
Now, Juvenal was an satirist during ancient Rome. Edomite, he was a satirist during ancient Rome. Okay, so he was a writer in the during the Roman captivity during that time. He was a known racist. So we're going to get into him too. The things he was saying about us. All right, go ahead.
Which he renders as, it takes a hale man to mock a crippled, and you can't bait niggers when you're tarred with the same brush.
This is what Juvenal was saying about us. Read that part again. You can't bait niggers.
And you can't bait niggers when you're tarred with the same brush.
Right. But guess what? This is the English version of what he was saying. But in ancient Rome, they used the word atheop. That's what they called us. All right, read on.
Juvenal 2.23. Quite obviously, this translation unwarrantably sets the Roman satirist in a modern racist social and psychological context, insofar as the phrase tarred with the same brush combines with the word niggers to present a picture of familiar Western social situations in which so-called black blood is perceived as a social taint and blacks and whites are socially defined categories or races.
Right. Read the next part.
The translation unjustifiably implies that the Latin word atheop.
So the translation unjustifiably implies that the Latin word atheops, read,
when used by Romans negatively, carried the same social psychological import as nigger.
It does what? Read that part again. Read it from the top. The translation.
The translation unjustifiably implies that the Latin word atheops.
So the Latin word atheops, the word atheops that was used in ancient Rome, read.
When used by Romans negatively.
When used by the Romans negatively.
Carried the same social psychological import as nigger.
So when you bring it up to today, being called an atheop back then in Roman captivity is the same as being called a nigger today. That's what was going on in ancient Rome. So the reason why I went to Deuteronomy 28 and 37 is to show you that those curses followed it. Don't think you just being called a nigger here in America. No, that went on back then too, but just under another word. Back then it was called atheop. Today they called us niggers. Okay, go down, read on. Let me see if there's any more on that.
Carried the same social psychological import as nigger does in contemporary Western usage.
You see that? Go ahead.
As a contemptuous and savagely disparaging expression applicable to any black by any white person in any situation, whatever their respective social positions. It does suggest to the unwary reader in Green's own society that the same racist perception of blacks, or of the black race, with which he or she is all too familiar was also a characteristic of ancient Roman society.
Hey, listen, same people. The same people. Nothing has changed. The way we're being treated today is the way that they treated us back then. You gotta read that again, man. Hey, are those bombs you dropping? I could barely hear the bombs. Those are bombs? Who dropping the bombs, man? Oh, gosh. I hope y'all got enough fuel back there.
Go read it again?
Yeah, read it again.
Right. It does suggest to the unwary reader in Green's own society that the same racist perception of blacks.
So hold on. The same racist perception of blacks today, because they bringing it up to today, read.
Or of the black race, with which he or she is all too familiar, was also a characteristic of ancient Roman society.
Right. So the way that Esau perceives us today was all too familiar with the Roman society back then. They had bywords for us. They had proverbs for us back then, like they do today. Nothing has changed. Nothing new under the sun. You thought today you just became a nigger. We became colored and Negro and all these different bywords and proverbs. No, that was happening back then in ancient Rome. Now, get me nature knows no color line. This is the book right here, Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. Okay, one of my favorite scholars, leadership. Bishop always references this book right here. Very good book. Okay, he also got other books too, like Sex and Race, volume 1s. Yeah, 3 volumes. Okay, and he also got another book called Superman, From Superman to Man. From Superman to Man. Very good books. All right, J.A.R. Rogers. Nature Knows No Color Line.
You want me to start from the top?
Yes, you can start from the top.
Chapter 4, Intermixture of Whites and Blacks in Ancient Rome. Rome was a melting pot, second in variety only to the United States and Brazil. All the races...
So hold on. Now, we've been dealing with Rome for some time now. Okay, Cap been bringing out heavy information about Rome. Now, I'm backtracking a little bit because we want to definitely get into the birth of Christ and the virgin birth and all that. So, but I'm just backtracking of things of what they was how was things perceived about us in ancient Rome. Understand, we went into the gladiators, we dealt with us being slaves, but how did they really perceive us? That's what I want to get into. How did they really perceive us in ancient Rome? All right. So here it says Rome was a what?
Rome was a melting pot, second in variety only to the United States.
So everybody was in Rome. Rome was like a New York, so to speak. Okay, like a Washington, D.C. or something. All right? Everybody, Rome was a melting pot. Go ahead, read.
And Brazil.
And Brazil.
All the races of the old world met and mingled there. Rome traded with China, so there were probably Chinese too. Droves of fair Britons, Celts, Gauls, Teutons, Slavs, Spaniards, Moors, Persians, Egyptians, Ethiopians, Sudanese, and Nigerians were brought to Rome.
As what? Slaves. We were brought to Rome as slaves. All right, jump down. Jump down. You could start at slaves. We can start with, go back into the slave market a little bit.
Slaves were employed at not only menial tasks as street cleaners.
So remember, when Kat was bringing up about the slaves a few episodes back, we touched on this a little bit. All right, so we're going to just touch on a few points about what we was doing as slaves a little more. All right, go ahead.
Slaves were employed at not only menial tasks as street cleaners.
So we were street cleaners. Go ahead. Remember, this is in ancient Rome, in the city of Rome. Go ahead.
But as actors.
So just like today, you got actors today, you got actors back then. And notice what they called the actors. Slaves. Just today actors might not look at themselves as slaves today. But in ancient Rome, if you was an actor, you was a slave. Okay?
You're serving to entertain somebody else.
Right, you're entertaining.
The service industry.
That's all you're doing.
Yep.
Hey, give me that scripture in Psalm 137. I know those of you that's been acting, you movie stars and so forth, you a slave. You were a slave back then, you're still a slave today. I know you have the money, the riches and so forth, but you're still a slave.
So back then they weren't saying sing nigga sing. They were saying sing Ethiop sing.
Yeah, saying Ethiop sing.
Ethiop sing.
Hey, just like you have your athletes today. Remember we touched on, I think a couple episodes ago, we touched about the athletes. How the athletes are slaves.
Mm-hmm. The gladiators.
Yeah, the gladiators were slaves. The athletes today are slaves. Nothing has changed.
What that Eddie say? Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, shut up and dribble, because that's all you here for. That's all you good. You good for nothing. All you can do is dribble a ball. All right, read that.
Psalm chapter 137 and verse 1.
1 second. You know I'm a little slow here. Go ahead.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive.
So read it clearly.
For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
For there, here in America, for there, they that carried us away captive as slaves required from us a song. Read.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth.
So even though they put shackles and chains on our necks, they still wanted us to be happy. Sing. Hey, make us laugh. Be a comedian.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Tell us one of them good jokes of Zion. Why don't you sing a song for me? Entertain us. Be an actor. But you still a captive. You still a slave. All right, read it again.
For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
So our captors required of us a song. They still wanted us to entertain them. That's why you have the entertainment industry, to entertain them. When a lot of comedians, sometimes when you look in the audience, it's all white people. Mm-hmm. A lot of Dave Chappelle's comedy stand-ups, it's a lot of white people there. Okay, majority it's a lot of white people. Why? Because all we doing is we still entertaining them. That's it. All right, go back to the page.
Slaves were employed not only menial tasks as street cleaners, but as actors.
So we were actors, read.
Tutors.
Secretaries.
Counselors, and physicians.
Read.
Among occupations of Negroes, as named by Roman writers, were actors, dancers, acrobats, soldiers, gladiators, priests of Isis, outriders, litter bearers, charioteers, bath attendants, cooks.
Now there was a in the book Image of the Black. I forgot which one. It shows a bath attendant in that book. All right. If you check out Bishop's Shout Out Tuesday, I know he went over it a lot, but this shows a black man as a bath attendant. Okay, so that was one of our menial tasks as a slave that we did. All right, we was bath attendants. Now we was also employed in the Roman army, just like we was in the Roman army. In the American army today, we was also in the Roman army. Okay, hey, give me Luke chapter 3:14. Luke chapter 3, verse 14. Just to prove that we were in the Roman army. We was in the Roman military. You got it?
Yes, sir. Luke chapter 3 and verse 14. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages.
Right. So now this is John the Baptist. He's talking to some Israelites that were Roman soldiers. Okay. And the Roman soldiers want to repent. And he said, look, he told them how to repent. Read that part. Read it again.
And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do?
How do we repent? Being in a Roman army, being a soldier in the Roman captivity, being a soldier in the Roman army. Read.
And he said unto them, Do violence to no man.
So don't do violence to no man. Read.
Neither accuse any falsely.
Don't accuse anybody falsely. Read.
And be content with your wages.
And be content with your wages. Okay, so this is how he was just telling them, look, if you're going to keep God's laws in the Roman army, this is what you must do. All right. So letting you know that we were in the Roman army. All right. Give me Acts chapter 10, because this is a huge hang up for our people.
Acts chapter 10 and verse 1.
Let me get there. Read.
Acts chapter 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian Band.
Now, he was a centurion, meaning what? He was over 100 men. Cornelius was a centurion, meaning he was over 100 men in the Roman army. Band just mean army. Look up the word band. Look up the word band real quick. And then we're going to get back into the topic. Look up the word band. Not no marching band. We're not talking about a band with instruments. Let me see. Hold on. Go back down. Let me see. Nah, click, yeah, let me go down. Yes, right there.
Band,
5.
Band, to unite in a troop, company, or confederacy.
So this is an army. To unite in a troop, company, or confederacy. This is a band. This is what Acts chapter 10, verse 1 was referring to. Read that again. Acts chapter 10, verse 1.
There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian Band.
Now, they say Cornelius was a white man because he was in the Italian band. Cornelius was a black man. He was an Israelite just in the Roman army.
That's right.
Just like you got our people serving for this country today in the American army. Now jump to 36. Start at 34.
Verse 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, Of a truth I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him.
Verse 36.
The word which God sent unto the children of Israel.
So Cornelius was an Israelite because the word was sent to him. Read that again. Read the whole thing.
Verse 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, Of a truth I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. The word which God sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Jesus Christ.
This whole chapter is about the word getting to the Israelites. That's who Cornelius was. Okay, getting to the northern kingdom. He was of the northern kingdom. All right. Now let's go back to the page.
You want to start from the sentence or just at the top?
Where was we at? Go to the next page. We're going to jump around.
Okay.
Next page. Blow that up. Let me see.
The waiters, domestics, divers, bootblacks, and the like. Others were conductors of elephants.
Jump to the second paragraph.
The color of these powerful ex-slaves was not given, but some were undoubtedly Negroes.
So these ex-slaves were undoubtedly Negroes. Read.
That they were dark-skinned is clear. It was the custom to whiten with chalk the naked feet of newly arrived slaves exposed for sale.
All right, let's go to the next page. Let's get to juvenile. Yes. All right, go up.
I think there was a part of juvenile in the
In that previous page?
yeah.
Go back. Let's see.
And the bottom of the top paragraph. The top paragraph.
Yes. Start at Roman literature.
Okay. Roman literature, though abundant, was very little on color prejudice.
So, ho. Roman literature, though abundant, has very little on color prejudice. So there's very little about color prejudice in any Roman literature. That's why I said you're not going to really find any anything with them talking or calling us a type of name or anything like that. You wouldn't know that you wouldn't know. Remember, it said that they perceived they was prejudiced against us. But a lot of literature, you won't know that. It's not going to say it. All right, go ahead.
Though Negroes were plentiful. In fact, the chief passages used to prove color antipathy can be limited to 3 from only one writer.
Here we go.
Juvenal.
Who was that? Juvenal.
Of the 2nd century A.D.
Hey, Juvenal didn't give a damn. Juvenal said, y'all don't want to say it, I'm going to say it. Right? Go ahead.
In attacking Roman wives for general misconduct, one of which is...
So hold on. So Juvenal and his satirists, he was attacking Roman wives, Roman patroon, the noble wives of the Romans. Okay, watch what he said.
Illicit sex relations with Negroes.
Why? Because them Edomite women, they loved us. They loved us in ancient Rome. You see that in the movie, in the series, Spartacus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how they was all over the gladiators. All right, go ahead.
He says that these matrons are likely to bear black children.
So his thing was, y'all be careful because he's talking to the men. He's talking to the Edomite men. He like, look, y'all be careful because your wives are going to likely bear black children. Go ahead.
offspring of a color that one would rather not see of a morning.
You see, the offspring of a color that one would rather not see of a morning. Now, they had in ancient Rome, they had this thing where if they seen a black person early in the morning, it was a bad sign. That meant evil. If they seen us early in the morning. He's going to say it. Go ahead.
But this is not at all evidence of race prejudice. It was merely superstitious fear. The ancients were even stronger believers in omens than ourselves.
So they believed in superstitions, omens, and so forth, right? Read.
The first thing they saw on arising in the morning was for many a sign of good or bad luck for the day.
Damn. Go ahead.
For instance, black was a sign of mourning for them. Thus, some associated black skin with that pretty much as some persons today see even in black cats.
So seeing a black skin back then was like seeing a black cat today. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
Also, Romans thought certain days unlucky as we do Friday the 13th.
That's where we get this superstition crap from. That's where we get it from. You get it from them. Ancient Rome, I mean, America's extension of ancient Rome, man. All right? So just like Friday the 13th, oh, there's a 13th floor. Oh, my God. All that comes from Esau. Go ahead.
They called such dies atri and marked them with charcoal on their calendars, hence black days, all of which by chance happened to be the color of the Negroes.
Damn, go ahead.
Juvenal says again, your cups will be handed you by the bony hand of some more so black you'd rather not meet him at midnight. Damn, Osamani.
Osamani wouldn't have had a chance.
Nowhere near.
Read that again.
Juvenal says again, your cups will be handed you by the bony hand of some more so black you'd rather not meet him at midnight.
Damn.
This is clearly poetic extravagance. Romans had Negroes waiting on them by day. Why then be so afraid of their color at night when with their unlit streets all cats were black at midnight?
All right, you can drag.
This is crazy.
Go down.
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Right? Go down. Next page. No, go back. Go back to even in America. Read that. Even in America.
Even in America, where color prejudice was strong, many whites not only used them as intimate servants, but preferred them as wet nurses. People who lived together not only learned to overcome inculcated prejudices based on physique, but in time may even defend such physical differences against strangers.
Right. Next page. You go to the next page. Let's get some more on Juvenal, what Juvenal was saying. Start at the third passage.
The third passage from Juvenal's reads, let the straight-limbed mock the bandy-legged, the white man sneer at the Ethiop. This passage does show some dislike for a black skin, but the satirist immediately follows it with something he considers worse, namely the conduct of one of Rome's noblest families, the Gracchi. He adds, but who could endure the Gracchi sneering at sedition?
Now, I want y'all to, what we're going to do today, we're going to focus on that word Ethiop. Ethiopian. We're going to deal with that word. Why? Because that's the word, that was the prejudice term that they called us. That was that byword back in ancient Rome. Remember, it carried the same connotation as the word nigger today. All right, so we're gonna delve into that word, where it came from, and how they used it against us. All right, read on.
Juvenal is also far more severe against Greeks than against Negroes. He avoids Greeks above all others, he says. He charged them with corrupting Roman manners. Finally, it must be remembered that Juvenal was a satirist, and satire, to be effective, must exaggerate.
Right. Cicero
also is supposed to have called an Ethiopian coarse, dull, awkward. Cum has an cum stipite Ethiop. But the authenticity of this is doubtful. This is omitted from the best editions. On the other hand, what he did say about the white-skinned Britons was definite. He said they were so dull-witted, one could expect from them no fine hand in music, literature, and the arts.
Hey, all right, go to the next page. Let's jump to some points, key points. So read the bottom of this. Blow that up.
Left. Ethiopian.
So it says left, Ethiopian. Go up. That's a young black man. That's an Israelite right there. But they called him an Ethiopian. Okay. Called him an Ethiopian. Next page. What page is it? 48?
Yes,
Yeah.
48.
All right, next page. I don't want this one yet. I don't want this one yet. Go to the next page. I don't want this one yet. We're going to save that one. Yeah, go down right there, according to Juvenal.
According to Juvenal and Marshall, adultery of Roman matrons with Negroes was common.
So, adultery of the Roman matrons with us was common. Read.
Juvenal advised the husbands not to take abortive potions from their wives.
So, they practice abortions. He's like, look, I suggest y'all get abortions. If your wife has a potion to abort the baby, let her keep that thing, man. So they was for abortions.
He said,
Why?
Let them keep them potions.
Yeah, let them do not take it from them. You're gonna see why. Why? Read.
Grieve not at this poor wretch, he said.
So he talking to the husband. He said, look, don't grieve at this, you poor wretch. Go ahead.
And with thine own hand give thy wife the potion, whatever it be, for did she choose to bear her leaping children in her womb, thou wouldest perchance become the sire of an Ethiop.
Or what?
A blackamoor.
A blackamoor. Go ahead.
Would soon be your sole heir.
So he said, yo, I think you better get an abortion. So abortions was around back then.
They've been killing black babies.
Yeah, killing black babies. All over back then, even in ancient Rome. Say, yo, don't take that potion from a matter of fact, give it to her.
Now we do it willingly.
Now we do it willingly. Yes, we do it willingly now. Over how many? 19 million?
19 million.
Since 1973?
It's yourself. How, Sway?
That's a known one, too.
You can't make this up. Back then, they had to force the women to get abortions. All right. Hey, let me see I don't know if you have that page. Caesar and Christ. I don't know if you have it. Caesar and Christ. About abortions. Caesar and Christ. Let me see. Go to page like 559. Let me see that page. Nope. What other page you have? Nope. Don't move too fast. Hey, when you see the word one second, Israel. Go to the next page. Go back. Move on, go back. I don't want to take too much time. Keep moving, next page. Damn, where's it at?
What does it say? Does it mention abortion?
Yeah, but it's not using the word abortion. It's using something else. Start with an A. Next page. It should be under Christian. Yeah, right here. Stop. Let me see this. All right, I'll find it later. I'm taking too much time. All right, go back. I'll find it later. Don't worry about it. Where we left off at?
We finished.
Go down to Marshall. Marshall was another racist at that time, and he was another satirist. Watch this.
Marshall, in attacking wifely misconduct, mentions a Roman matron who bore her husband 7 children.
So listen good. This Roman matron, this Edomite, who was married to a noble at that time, bore her husband 7 children. Read.
None of which is of his race.
None of his race.
Yes, sir.
Yo, come on. Yo, what was that? Bro, come on, man. Stay in the spirit, man.
Yeah, for real. What's wrong with you, man?
Yo, come on. Play it again. I said play it again. Read it again. You threw me off with that.
Marshall, in attacking wifely misconduct, mentions a Roman matron who bore her husband 7 children.
Go ahead.
None of which is of his race.
Read.
He says, one of them with woolly hair.
So one of them had woolly hair. Go ahead.
Like a like a Moor.
Like a Moor. Read.
Seems to be the son of Santra, the cook.
So it was. So that was Sancho the cook's son.
He was cooking, all right. The second with
The
flat nose.
Right. So the second child had a flat nose. Go ahead.
And thick lips.
Read.
Is the image of Panicus.
The wrestler.
The wrestler.
Go ahead.
Damn.
So just to let you know that these women, the Edomite women was committing adultery like crazy on their husbands with us. Okay. You can read about the gladiators, how he was in love with the gladiators. Mm-hmm. How he was in love with us at that time. Go ahead.
The wrestler of 2 daughters, one is black, and belongs to Crotus, the flute player.
Dang. So she was all over the place.
With the cook, the wrestler, the
Cook,
flute
the
player.
wrestler, and the flute player. 7 children. None of them are his. All right. Next page.
Julius Caesar had a love affair with Euno, a Moorish queen, wife of King Bogadus of Morocco.
Did y'all get the page with Augustus Caesar? Let me see if y'all got. Dang. Hey, y'all say something. Officer Manny, you say something.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Make sure you get your pens, your papers. Make sure you take good notes.
Yeah, tell them what type of pencil and pen they should have.
Make sure it's that number 2 pencil. Make sure it's well sharpened.
Nah, but you know what's crazy? What we're reading here is the same thing that was happening to us in slavery.
Yeah, without a
They
doubt.
had the bed wenches. They had us for their pleasure, and they threw us out.
Even nowadays, I don't know if you remember about the situation with the so-called Jewish family with the black daughter. That they actually made it seem like
They were, what was it?
Right.
They were, how you call it? They were violating her, right?
Well, apparently, the Edomite the Edomite wife got out the marriage, and she actually slept with I guess a Judite.
Yeah.
And I guess they covered that up, and they just made it seem like she was just part of the family.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, she was light skinned.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Leadership brought it out during a Sabbath class.
Oh,
and she was always wondering, like, why do I look different?
Yeah, why do I look different and so on? Yep.
damn, what's the name of that?
It was in Texas, right?
Oh, Little White Lie. Little White Lie.
Yep.
Yeah, Little White Lie.
So
yep.
they're still doing it today. They're still doing it today.
If you don't mind, if I could pull a scripture, officer.
Do your thing.
Can you get me Psalms chapter 44, verse 14? This goes into the point where J.R. Rogers and Nation Knows No Color Lines stated that a lot of different nations were in Rome, living in Rome. Read that for me.
Psalms chapter 44 and verse 14. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen.
So we was around the heathen living in Rome. So they called this, not only did the Romans call this Ethiop, but even looking at America today, the so-called white man calls us nigger. You got Chinese, they call us a nigger. You got different nations always calling us these bywords. Read.
A shaking of the head among the people.
So everywhere we go, all these other nations, they just shake their head. They look at us and they just shake their head, sometimes in astonishment, other times in disappointment. But they always call us a byword. Back then, even now. That's it.
Hey, I got a page I'm about to send. It's going along with what we just read. Let me see if that's the right page.
What about the adulteries and whatnot?
Yeah, yep. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. Same thing. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. All right, hold on. second.
Hey, just remember, Israel, you're not going to get this information anywhere else. The prophets are back on the earth teaching the people, waking them up about history that happened back then and also things that's going on now. So make sure you're taking notes, asking questions.
Hey, pull that up real quick. Watch this. Blow it up.
What's your paragraph?
Start at Lucius. Lucius Seneca.
Seneca.
Yep. He was another writer during that time. Ancient Rome. Watch this.
Lucius Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, written in the first part of the 1st century AD.
So this is the 1st century AD. Go ahead.
Mentions that numbers of Negroes of both sexes were introduced into Rome at that time for purposes of prostitution.
You see that? So they was bringing us in to Rome for prostitution, man.
Sex slaves.
Sex slaves. So now to correlate with what Juvenal was saying, he was like, "Yo, these women, your wives are sleeping around with the Negroes, with these niggas."
But they brought us in for that very purpose.
They was bringing us in for that very purpose. But watch this. Go back. We're not done.
In Turkey, Persia, and India, the Negro has played an important part in the sexual life of the inhabitants of these countries, either as means to gratify homosexual impulses.
So hold on. It wasn't just the women. They was the men was using us just like in slavery, sodomizing us, man. You know what I'm saying? So it was the same thing back then. Go ahead.
On another note, like with the homosexual agenda that's pushing today, they trying to equate their struggle with ours. Meanwhile, they were doing this to us.
Yes.
The same homosexuals trying to equate their struggles with ours.
Right.
But they were sodomizing us.
They were sodomizing us.
Back then and in modern America.
They was trying to turn us into a sodomite, man.
Exactly. And they're doing that with the kids today. But all right, so
read that again.
Either as means to gratify homosexual impulses or as a eunuch to amuse the females of the harem.
Right. Jump down to
in the United States?
Yes.
In the United States of America, sexual intercourse between whites and blacks is by no means uncommon, in spite of the strong feeling that exists there against all colored races.
So the way it was in ancient Rome, it was the same today. Go ahead.
Not so many years ago, a commission was appointed in South Africa to investigate an outcry about the raping of white women by black men.
That was BS. That was their way of incriminating us for messing with their women, for for sleeping around with their women. Nobody wants y'all women anyway.
Right.
Go ahead. I believe I am right in saying that the commission was confronted with some very astonishing evidence.
Right. Go down. Let me see if I want anything on this. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it on that. That's it on that. All right. Let's get back. From there. Let's get into the term Ethiop. I know we kind of sidetracked a little bit. Let's get into the term Ethiop. Give me blacks in antiquity. Blacks in antiquity. Okay. This is the book right here, Blacks in Antiquity. Okay, by Frank M. Snowden Jr. Okay, the bishop brought this book out countless of times. Very good book.
Yeah, very good.
Very good book to show how we was Hellenized. So it has pictures of us being Hellenized and so forth. All right, so very, very good book. You can pick this book up also. All right, Blacks in Antiquity.
Shouldn't be too much either.
Nah, it shouldn't be too much. Shouldn't be too much. All right, let's read that.
Although
read the top. Yeah, right there. Afer, Indus.
Afer, Indus, and Morris as equivalents of Ethiops. Although
so hold on. Look at the terms. Afer, Indus,
and Morris.
Morris as equivalents of Ethiop. Watch this. Go ahead.
Although Ethiops is by far the most common generic word which the Greeks and Romans used to designate a Negroid type, African, Indus Indian, and Morris Moor are at times obviously the equivalents of Ethiopian.
Now, I haven't researched it. I haven't looked it up. Okay, I haven't looked it up. But in our previous captivities before Esau, we were still they were still calling us Jews. They were still calling us Israelites at that time. Now, I haven't researched any bywords that they may have had for us at that time. That's something I'm gonna look into. But I know once Esau came into power, remember, it was look, hatred and racism is at an all-time high.
Right.
You understand? Once they came into power, racism and hatred was at an all-time high. Because when you look at our previous captivities, they still let us, keep our laws. Yeah. It was always Esau in the mix that was trying to get us killed for keeping our laws. But in the Persian captivity, they allowed us to keep our laws and so forth. Okay, the Most High showed us favor there. Babylonian captivity, Most High showed us favor. Until they trying to kill Daniel. But I bet you that was the Edomite, the one that went back to the king and said that, there's a Daniel and Meshach and Abednego, they don't want to bow down. I bet you that was the Edomite. I put money on it was an Edomite. But just like Haman during the Persian captivity, how he tried to get us killed, he was an Edomite, an Amalek, so-called Jew. But what I do know, like I said, I haven't done research on it, but what I do know, once Esau came into power, that's when these terms came about. These bywords came about. Okay. Now, like I said before, we read Deuteronomy 28:37 with the curses. They followed us in each captivity up until now. So there probably was some bywords that they did call us. But like I said, I have to look into it.
Because everybody's black but them.
Right. Yeah, everybody, exactly. Everybody's black but them. So, of course, they would come up with a name because they hate our skin. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, give me that in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2.
That's also why they call that region in India Hindu Kush, which is Ethiopia again.
Ethiopia.
Yep.
Can't make this up, man.
Yep.
I think Wisdom of Solomon, chapter, let me get it. Let me see.
2 and 15.
What did it say?
But they don't like looking at us?
Yes, read that.
Okay.
Yep.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 15. He is grievous unto us, even to behold.
So this is Esau, so-called Jew. They said he is grievous unto us, talking about us. Okay, he is grievous to us, even to look at. They hate looking at us. Mm-hmm. They hate seeing us in the morning. They still to this day they hate seeing you in the morning.
It's bad luck to see us in the morning.
Hey, don't the term they say what is it about Monday? They call it something Monday. I don't know. I forgot what it is. They call it today. I'm talking about today, like right now. They be like, damn, it's Monday. Because after Sunday, they gotta look, they gotta come see. They gotta deal with us on a Monday. They gotta come see us. Yo, same thing. It's the same thing today. Trust me. It's the same thing today, man. They like, damn, I gotta go back to work and look at these niggas again. I forgot. It's called something Monday. But anyway, read that again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 15. He is grievous unto us, even to behold.
So they came up with these terms because they hate looking at us. They hate looking at us, man. Believe that. The Bible says it. They hate us. They have a perpetual hatred against us. That's why they come up with these different terms that we about to get in. This term that we about to get into now. All right.
You know what? It's heavy, officer, because just like you were stating earlier, that when the so-called white man came onto the earth and rulership, evils was multiplied, where it says that in Maccabees.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get that.
That First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 9.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
So this was the generals of Alexander the Freak.
So did their sons after them many years.
So not only did the 4 generals rule, but their sons, their lineage thereafter ruled these nations.
Read on. Go ahead.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
So those 4 generals were all in agreement. So those 4 generals made sure to suppress us, and also they started calling us by our God-given name.
Right.
Bywords now.
Evils were multiplied. Evils were multiplied. Think about that. Alexander the Free took out all the dark nations. He conquered all the dark nations. This was Esau in power, in rulership now, taking over the earth. Okay, so it wasn't no need for, it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't no need. We was all dark.
Yeah.
There wasn't no need to come up with no bywords or nothing like, oh, you blacky black, blackity black. You know what I'm saying? We use that amongst ourselves, like in Acts 13:1. Simon the nigger, right? But when Esau came into power, they took it to another level. They took these terms to another level. Just like we read it in epithet, it was a term of abuse. All right? Now, let's go back to the page.
The next page or this one?
No, we finished that one.
Yeah.
Go to the next page now. So now we getting into the word atheop, also known as nigger. Go ahead.
The Greeks and Romans on occasion grouped colored peoples together loosely on the basis of color, and ignoring certain other physical characteristics, used Moris as comprehensive term for various colored peoples of Africa, and from the 1st century AD onwards, at times also used Moris as an equivalent of Ethiop.
See that? So the word Moris, which also translates to Moor, means black. So they used it interchangeably. Just like today, they use colored, Negro,
African American.
They use these words interchangeably to describe us, doing the same thing back then. All right. Is there any more on that?
No, I think that's it on that one.
Okay. All right. Go next page.
Summary of criteria for determining whether a given passage refers to a Negroid type. In consideration of the Greek and Roman acquaintance with the Negroid type as revealed by the literary evidence, and in view of the use of the word Ethiopian, it is reasonable to assume that a given passage refers to a Negroid type in the following instances. Whenever the word Ethiops is used with the knowledge, however, that the word comprehended different Negroid types.
So the word atheop comprehended different Negroid types. Go ahead.
The true or purest type of African Negro.
You see that? The purest, the true and purest type of African Negro. Read on.
With Negroid traits in their most marked form. The Nilotic or mixed type with less pronounced characteristics, such as reduced prognathism and pleithorny, and with hair ranging from less tightly curled to almost straight, and modifications thereof, differences in pigmentation, and various combinations of Negroid physical characteristics.
Hey, so they understand there was a difference. That's what they marked the difference between us. They knew who they was calling Ethiopians or Atheop. They knew.
They said no matter how light you were either.
Yeah, no matter how light you
Negro.
You was a Negro.
Yep.
But in between them calling us Negroes, they knew there was a difference between us. All right, next page.
I think that's the last one on that book.
All right, from there. Get me the I think I want to get into the article. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, give me the definition Ethiopian.
Ethiopian, adjective, of or relating to Ethiopia or to its inhabitants.
Jump down to the archaic.
Archaic, black African.
So Ethiopian meant black African. That's what they called us, black African. Okay, so remember when you looking up definitions and archaic means the ancient definition of that word. Okay, so the other ones of relating to Ethiopia are to its inhabitants, but we want the ancient, what they really used it for. They really used that word to call us Ethiopians, meaning black African. All right. Next definition. Ethiop. Ethiop is short for Ethiopian. All right, go down. Go down. Keep going. Right here. Ethiop.
Archaic words for black.
There you go. Ethiop is an archaic word, just means black or nigger or colored or African American. This is what they was calling us in ancient Rome. All right, go ahead. Next, now from there. Yeah, blow that up. Let me see if I want that one yet, because I wanna bring something out. Nope, drop that. I don't want that one yet. Give me the other one. Give me the other one. No, there should be a second one I gave you. Okay, yeah, that's all right. Get me Tacitus. You see the page under there? Yep, blow that up. Watch this, what they say about the Jews.
The history of Tacitus. Some say that the Jews were fugitives from the island of Crete.
So let me bring it to speed. Tacitus was a Roman historian during ancient Rome. He was a Roman historian. Okay? So look what he say about us, the Jews. Read that again.
Some say that the Jews were fugitives from the island of Crete, who settled on the nearest coast of Africa about the time when Saturn was driven from his throne by the power of Jupiter. They looked.
So this is their mythology. They mix in mythology and so forth in the nonsense, right? Watch this.
They look for evidence in the name. There is a famous mountain in Crete called Ida. The neighboring tribe, the Idai, came to be called Judea by a barbarous lengthening of the national name.
Jump down.
Many again say that they
Listen
were,
good. Listen good.
Many again say that they were a race of Ethiopian origin.
Read that again.
Many again say that they were a race of Ethiopian origin.
So many, Tacitus is saying that many say that the Jews were a race of Ethiopian origin. Letting you know the Jews are black. That's what he's saying.
That's right.
But it's just that they were just trying to find out, like, dang, where they originate from. But they know that what we are black. He's saying, look, these Jews is black as hell. They must be from Ethiopian origin, meaning from where? Africa. That's what he's saying. Read it again.
Many, again, say that they were a race of Ethiopian origin, who in the time of King Cephas were driven by fear and hatred of their neighbors to seek a new dwelling place.
Now, remember, it says the Jews, many again say that they were a race of Ethiopian origin. Now, bring that one definition back up. Watch this, and then get that map ready. Esau think he's slick. Get that map ready. Yeah, blow that up.
Ethiops.
Jump down to the first one.
Sunburnt.
So Ethiop means sunburnt. Go ahead.
Dark complexioned races above Egypt.
Dark complexion races above Egypt. Ethiop, sunburnt, dark complexion races above Egypt. What am I showing you? Matter of fact, before I say that, give me the map. Bring the map up. Because when I first seen this, when I first looked at it, I'm like, nah, he can't be saying that. Nah, ain't no way he's saying that.
Boy, no way, boy.
Boy, it ain't no way, boy. But that's why we cross-reference things, man, to bring out what Esau really trying to say. That's why we cross-reference. Oh, you show him his country?
Yeah, his motherland.
Hey, shout out to Officer Ari, man. He looking at his homeland, Ethiopia. No, he ain't from Ethiopia. Nah,
It's Ethiopia.
Nah,
The whole landmass is called Ethiopia.
Yeah.
the whole
Eritrea was just
Eritrea.
it was divided because they couldn't get past the mountain, so they just took that portion. But it was part of Ethiopia before, or Abyssinia. But yeah.
Hey, did you know that, Officer Ari?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I told him.
He told us, yes, sir. All right. Let's get back to it. Go down. I want Egypt. Come on, stay with me. I want Egypt. Now, remember what it said. It said sunburnt, Ethiop, sunburnt, dark complexion races above Egypt. Blow it up. Blow the map up a little bit. All right, we see Egypt, right?
Look at Crete right there.
You see Crete. But what's north of Egypt? The land of Israel. Our homeland is north of Egypt. So what is he calling the people? What is he calling the Jews? Aethiops.
Black.
Niggas. Just like today. Being called niggas all over again. But that's what you thought they called us Jews? They ain't call us Jews. They had a name for us like they got today. They called us niggas, Aethiops, but it was called Aethiops. Okay? Now go back to that definition again. Go back to the definition again.
Aethiops. Sunburnt, dark complexion races above Egypt.
So dark complexion races above Egypt. Now jump down to B, appellation.
A black man, Negro.
Damn. A black man, a Negro.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man. You can't make this up. This is the term, and Esau hides this stuff. They hide it. That's why this show is called Our Hidden History. This stuff is hidden from us. All right? So a black man, a Negro. But up top, go back up top. It says sunburnt, dark complexion races above Egypt. Why? Because black people live there. Negroes. The Jews. Okay? Now go back to the page with Tacitus. Let's read it.
And mind you, that's a Greek word.
Yes.
So the Greeks.
The Greeks started that.
Yep.
That's why all praise Officer Manny brought that out about them multiplying. The evils was multiplied because when the Greeks was Esau. That's why they call it the Greco-Roman Empire.
They started calling us burnt faces
Yeah.
once they took over.
Right.
They all the same.
So
They knew we were Jews, but they just decided,
Like,
just
nah.
like today. Damn, y'all got that clip where the sister said she remember when they called us African American?
in the 80s.
Yeah. Y'all have the clip?
Because they would hate calling us Jews because it means God's praise.
Right.
Like, I ain't gonna call you niggas God's praise. Y'all niggas.
Remember, this hatred go all the way back, man. All the way back to Esau and
They
Jacob.
sold their birthright.
Right. This hatred go all the way back. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The sister says she remember when the term African American came out, and she worked with Edomites, and they said that they don't know who they are. She said that we don't know who the hell we are. So what I'm saying is back then, they know we were Jews, but they had a term for us, a byword for us. Understand that. All right. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. What time is it? All right, go back. Read that page again.
Many, again, say that they were a race of Ethiopian origin.
So Tacitus know that we was a race of Ethiopian origin.
Who, in the time of
I'm not saying that we was a race. Tacitus was saying that we was a race of Ethiopian origin. Mm-hmm. That's what he was implying.
our origin are black.
Right, because we were black. The Jews was black, right? But we're going to show you that when he said that, he was referring to us, because remember, we were scattered all over. So when he referring to us, he was talking about us that was in our homeland during that time. But when he says that he think that we come from a race of Ethiopian origin, he's talking about us that was in Africa at that time, because that's what they called us. All right? You can drop that. Go to the next. Give me where's the is that it? Yes, let me get that. Let me get that page.
Echoes from a Pioneer Life. 1922.
Hey, hold on. There's a page. I thought I sent them. I thought I put them on here. I don't see them. Or maybe it got cut off. Yeah, I want this drawn next. All right, go ahead. No, get the page that in the yellow. What book is this?
Echoes from a Pioneer Life.
So this book is called Echoes from a Pioneer Life. What year?
1922.
1922. All right. What do it say?
The English term Ethiop or Ethiop relating
man, read the top. Read the title.
Chapter 9, A Message to the Race.
Hey, man, this is a message to the race. Watch this.
Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto God.
Read.
The English term Ethiop relating to Ethiopia or to its inhabitants, Ethiopians, is derived from the Latin Ethiops.
So it comes from Ethiop. Ethiopian come from Ethiop. Go ahead.
And two Greek words signifying burnt face.
Black as hell.
Hence, dark-colored black.
You see that? Hence, dark-colored black. Burnt face. All right? Ethiopian. Go ahead. Go down.
But in a wider sense, both in ancient and modern history, the terms Ethiopia and Ethiopian and Cush, the Hebrew form of the same word, are all used to designate the African or Negro race.
Damn. Read it again.
But in a wider sense.
So, hold on. But in a wider sense, read.
Both in ancient and modern history.
Both in ancient and modern history. So today and back then, read.
The terms Ethiopia and Ethiopian and Cush, the Hebrew form of the same word, are all used to designate the African or Negro race.
You see that? Now, we understand Cush refers to Ham. All right? Cush in Ethiopia, that refers to Ham. All right? But, like he said, in a wider sense back then, they referred to it meant us, African, or it meant the African or the Negro race back then. All right? Go to the next page now.
The one you just posted?
Yes. And then we're going to take a break. Blow that up.
Chapter 29, Ethiopia and Libya interior.
Now, in this page right here, what we're going to show you is that it not only referred to all of us, but they're going to, in this page, is going to explain as a whole that it really referred to us. All right. So meaning what? It referred to the country Ethiopia. Okay. But you'll see that it referred to us in West Africa and so forth. Watch this.
Ethiops was the term used by the Greeks to denote everything which excessive heat had rendered of a very dark color.
Right. Go ahead.
And hence they applied the appellation to black men.
You see that? They applied the appellation to us, black men. Read.
Calling them Ethiops.
They call us Ethiops. Read.
And their country, Ethiopia.
Read.
Precisely in the same way that we name them Negroes.
You see that? So they know who they was talking about. Esau know who they was talking about. They wasn't talking about Ham. They used that word to refer to us. Read it again.
And hence they applied the
from the top.
Ethiops was a term used by the Greeks to denote everything which excessive heat had rendered of a very dark color.
Africa. Go ahead.
And hence they applied the appellation to black men.
So they applied it to us black men.
Calling them Ethiops and their country, Ethiopia, precisely in the same way that we named them Negroes.
So he's telling you the same way that we named them Negroes today, back then we called them Ethiops in ancient Rome. Read.
And their country, Negro land.
And the country what?
Negro land.
Give me a map of Negro land, please. What I'm showing you is that they called us Ethiops. That's why they say, yo, the Jews, they might be of Ethiopian origin. Meaning what? From West Africa. Esau is slick with his words. Where's Negro land? Blow it up. That's as far as you can blow it up? Right there. This is Negro land right here. Why they call it Negro land? Because we were over there.
The Ethiops.
The Ethiops is what they called us.
Where they got us in the slave ships.
And guess what? They knew that the Jews, And those of us that was over in Negro land, they knew we were the same people. That's why he said maybe they are Ethiopian origin. They black men. They niggas. That's what they was calling us. All right? You could drop that. Go back to the page. Back to the page. It's right here. I'm looking at it, right? No, that's not it. All right, finish it up. Then we go take a break.
Aethiops was the term used by the Greeks to denote everything which excessive heat had rendered of a very dark color, and hence they applied the appellation to black men, calling them Ethiops and their country Ethiopia, precisely in the same way that we named them Negroes and their country Negroland and Nigritia.
Or Nigritia, right.
Read on. Nigritia. The name of Ethiops became therefore a common one for all the people south of Mauritania.
So the name of Ethiops became therefore a common one for all. The name of Ethiops became therefore a common one for all the people south of Mauritania. Go ahead.
Numidia.
Read.
Africa.
And
Egypt.
Read.
Those towards the Atlantic being distinguished as so situated, or was the Hesperi Ethiops.
Right. So those of us towards the Atlantic, West Africa. All right. Now, jump down to number 2 here. I got highlighted.
The Greeks were acquainted at a very early period with the existence of Ethiopians or black men.
Now, when we come back from break, we're going to show you how they became acquainted with us. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. All right. If you got any questions, all right, you can reach us at 267-702-6121. Make sure your questions are on the topic. All right. Make sure your questions are on the topic. All right. Don't call in asking about Noah and all that. What happened with the flood? Make sure it stays on topic. All right. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Shalom.
Hey, Most High in Christ, bless Israel, Bishop Nathaniel here. Some of you call me the general, and I appreciate that term, but today we're going to find out if I'm a true general or not. In Matthew 28, Christ commanded the disciples. He said, go ye into all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe whatsoever I have commanded thee. So as we know, the 12 tribes of Israel, like James 1:1 said, was scattered throughout all nations, from the sub-Saharan slave trade to the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, so we're going to deal with that. The gospel hasn't been preached everywhere as yet. There's much work to be done. Okay, in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, around verse 16, I believe Paul said to preach the gospel in regions beyond you and not to boast in other men's work. We don't want to boast in no other camp's work. The Most High called us on a mission. We must fulfill that mission. So I need you courageous, brave, and bold deacons, captains, officers, soldiers to stand up and show yourselves worthy of this truth. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you something. Show you what needs to be done. Listen good. I want y'all to see this map. We have several schools in Canada. We are throughout the United States of America, and I give all praises to the Most High for that. All right. We are entering into Mexico. We have no foundations as yet here. Understand, we have no foundation. We have teaching, but no foundation. The Most High just allowed us to open a school here in Ecuador. But listen, look. We have no foundations in these areas. Okay, we have some teachings, but no foundation, no foundation. We need to get throughout Argentina and Chile. We have several schools on the continent of Africa. Give all praises to the Most High for that. Several schools we have here, but that's not enough. We need more schools of the truth, of the gospel being taught. Okay, we need to hit these areas, Madagascar even. Zambia, Angola, okay? We just started a foundation here in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay, there's nothing, we have Europe. No foundation in Spain as yet. one small school in France, Germany. We need more. There's more work to be done, Israel. More work to be done. Listen, and there's no foundational teaching throughout these areas here. When I say foundation, I mean school. I don't mean one guy went throughout one area over here and taught something and left. I'm talking about there's no foundation of the gospel being taught throughout this region here at all. So we need the truth to be taught there, okay? Australia even. You got some of our people in Australia, okay? New Guinea, Indonesia, Sumatra, Vietnam. Okay, these regions have no Israelite foundations. The truth, the gospel must be taught that our people are scattered throughout these regions. Okay, from the time of the sub-Saharan slave trade. Understand that, Israel. Understand there's too much work to be done. Too much work to be done. So Israel, I need some volunteers. I need some of you mighty men to stand up. You deacons, captains, officers, soldiers, stand up. I need volunteers to go on this mission.
The Most High's hand is definitely in the mix. All right, when the scripture says that this gospel shall reach the four corners, all right, should go out through this whole earth, his line shall go out through the earth. Understand, that's exactly what the Most High meant.
People were saying that we were taking vacation, but we was doing the work of the Most High. This was just another avenue to get the gospel taught.
When we read the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, I know many of us read that and don't really fathom that that's talking about us today.
We are born with a purpose, and it is our quest to look at what our purpose is. And that's what's wrong with many of our people. Our people go through life and they never really find out what their purpose is.
The Most High put the Spirit on Bishop in order for these great works to take place. And brothers, we are fulfilling Bible prophecy. Understand that thing. We are the continuation of the Acts of the Apostles.
We're the army of God. Just because you got the power don't mean nothing. It's how you wield that power. We're going to continue to be the biggest, better, and godly camp. Ain't nobody going to change us. Ain't nobody going to manipulate us.
I got to pray for my ops. Want me to fall so bad. They pulling out all the stops. All of the work to be done and they want me to stop. Fulfilling my destiny. I'm on my way to the top.
I think they need to speak about black on black crime, man. There's just too much of it. There's just way too much of it, man. We should work together, band together, and help one another pull each other up.
Get the kingdom, you can see it in my eyes. We got heathens watching, eat them, plotting, demons in disguise. Eat them once they try to stop, but now we right back on the rise.
Right.
The next time we were boots on the ground, because we have a common goal. My common goal is living. My common goal is black men living in Kansas City.
One more time.
20 years. strong. 20 is strong. 20 is strong. 20 is strong. 20. It's been 20 years. 20. It's been 20 years strong. It's been 20 years strong. Dang, I ain't scared no more. I ain't scared no more.
We fall, we break, we fail. But then we rise, we heal, we overcome.
Why would I give up? Yeah, right here at the finish line. You must not know what's up. Cause we ain't got much time and we been going in. Yeah, it feel like so long. Yeah, and all the hate we done taste at the end of the day, we can say, yeah, it's been 20 years strong. It's been 20 years strong. Say what, say what?
After all of the trials and all of the tribulation, we stand here an organized nation. Many thought that we wouldn't come back from the odds we was facing, but these bricks built on strong foundations. That's why they in the uproar with no answer for us. They sending spies in so they could damage the trust. Some try to copy the plans of the just, but wax old and they sin, so they can't hold a candle to us. We got the earth trigger. We even built billboards. See the bigger picture? Our haters sitting bicker, but we been getting fitter. Cause we stand by God. We trying to be the full package to get delivered. We got elders that paved the way. Youngins out every day. Sisters for help and stay. Sins that we got to slay. Plus it's way more that we got on the way. Plus these heathens still got to pay. So
why would I give up? Why would I give up? Right here at the finish line. You must not know what's up. You must not know what's up. Cause we ain't got much time and we been going in. It don't stop, won't stop, won't stop. It feel like so long, so long. And all the hate we done taste at the end of the day, we can say it's been 20 years strong. It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years strong.
Israel, stand up. Let's go. Born in afflictions, nurtured in adversity. Our patience wrought resilience. Resilience killed all uncertainties. Hustle wherever the work would be. Muscle for that mustard seed. Focus on repentance while niggas was inventing terror. Some was scared to grow up. Yeah, there's some grown ass kids. We even see some get locked up for some of that ish that they did. But we some champions. Lord made us different, out here stomping. From Bourbon Street to Bill Barclays, BET Bonches. We keep it popping. Ease up, boys. Never giving up or giving in. We the prophets. Better miss us with that nonsense. ADL, really? You look silly boxing God. You can't stop this prophecy. Our aspirations different. This here kingdom's just a stop for me. Bishop had the vision, gave the mission, now it's policy. Aimed at exponential. Did we listen, nigga? Obviously. We IUIC.
Why would I give up? Why would I give up? Right here at the finish line. Right here at the finish line. Cause we ain't got much time. We ain't got much time. Going in, y'all. It feel like so long. So long. And all the hate we done taste at the end of the day, we can say.
Hey, Shalom, we're back. We back. All right, from break. Hey, so we was just going over the term atheop, what it mean, how they perceived us. Before let's go back to the article that remember the first article that we had,
the Roman perception.
Yeah, let's go. Let's refresh I know we went through a lot on the term, but let's refresh why they called us this and what it meant at that time. Read that.
Roman perceptions of blacks. The following article is pre-printed from Scholia NS2 1994.
You could jump. You get to the point.
Where this discussion does not specifically touch upon the problem of transposing important alien concepts, and in no doubt explains Green's own English translation in the Penguin series of Juvenal's Lord Pedum Rectus Deritiate Ethiopium Albus, which he renders as it takes a hale man to mock a cripple, and you can't bait niggers when you're tarred with the same brush.
So remember, we touched on Juvenal, the known racist during the Roman captivity. All right, so this comes from his book. All right, so these are sayings that he have in his own book that he wrote. All right, now
I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quite obviously, this translation unwarrantedly sets the Roman satirist in a modern racist social and psychological context, insofar as the phrase tarred with the same brush combines with the word niggers to present a picture of familiar Western social situations in which so-called black blood is perceived as a social taint, and blacks and whites are socially defined categories or races.
Right. Now watch this part. This is what I want. This is the point.
The translation unjustifiably implies that the Latin word atheops.
So remember, we've been going over atheops the whole time. We've been bringing up definitions, what it meant. Okay, so the whole this whole show has been about the word atheop. This term atheop is the term that they used in ancient Rome. All right, to denote a byword for us during that time period.
The translation unjustifiably implies that the Latin word atheops, when used by Romans negatively.
So the word atheop was used by the Romans negatively. All right, it never meant anything positive for us. When they call us an atheop, it was a negative byword for us, just like today. Watch.
Carried the same social psychological import as nigger does in the contemporary Western usage.
You see that? And we read it. We've been reading pages over and over again where we see it atheop, Negro, atheop, black man. Okay, that's what they refer to us as. All right. Now, that's what I wanted. Officer Manny, somebody say something. We just had a break, and I did not look for this page. This is the page I really wanted with Augustus Caesar.
Did you get the one for Caesar and Christ with the abortion?
Yes,
thing?
you can go there.
I'll pull that up.
Oh, and it's another page too I wanted to use for the go back as far as the Jews being called Ethiopians. All right, as far as them calling us Ethiopians. But you can get that. You can go back to the abortion.
Where's that? What, the very bottom or just the bottom?
With the highlight. The highlight.
Okay.
Yep.
Since fertility was commanded. And
you could read the whole page.
Beginning of the
paragraph.
paragraph.
The whole paragraph.
Okay. The dispersion, the flight or enslavement of million Jews so accelerated their spread through the Mediterranean that their scholars came to date the diaspora from the destruction of Herod's temple. We have seen that this dispersion had begun 6 centuries before in the Babylonian captivity and had been renewed in the settling of Alexandria. Since fertility was commanded and infanticide sternly forbidden by Jewish piety and law, the expression of the Jews was due to biological as well as economic causes.
Right. So we did not deal with abortion. Okay, we didn't deal with abortion. If anything, we multiplied. Okay, just like we did in ancient Egypt, we always multiplied. All right. So at this time, we did not deal with abortion like the other nations dealt with it. Now, you did have certain periods where we did delve in it with because we worshiping the god, what, Molech?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you had times during the different various captivities that we were doing it, all right, but for the most part, we were having a lot of children.
According to our laws and our
Right,
customs.
according to our laws and customs.
We weren't allowed to do those kind of things.
That's what it's saying. We weren't supposed to be doing that, according to our laws and customs. But you know, you got the evil of us that dwell into the
like
other.
It reads on Ezekiel 23 and 7. Was it 37?
Mm-hmm.
If we could get that.
Ezekiel chapter 23 and verse 37. That they have committed adultery, and blood is in their hands. And with their idols have they committed adultery.
So modern day, what is all these parties with these feast days, or the so-called feast days, because they're not really feast days, these holidays, or what is it, carnival and all that. So they're, because a husband and wife, if they're married and they're, the wife is pregnant, they're not gonna want to abort their baby. Right. So what you're showing you here is that these people, they're doing it outside of marriage. They're doing it out of wedlock, which of course is against the law. And they're serving other gods. Because what happens? You going clubbing, you going New Year's party, you going to carnival, you're sleeping around, and with sex comes what? Pregnancy. You don't want that pregnancy because obviously you're not in that mindset. So what you're doing, you're committing adultery, and now you're sacrificing your child unto Molech, unto other gods. Finish that there.
And have caused their sons, whom they bear unto me, to pass from them through the fire.
Infanticide, abortion, things that we shouldn't be doing, like we're reading here. We committed adulteries, we committed fornications, and now we don't want these children, and we kill them off. We commit murder now. Thou shalt not kill, as Exodus 20 says. So that's what's going on. That's what was going on. That's what's still going on today. Because Hebrews 13:4 and says what? Marriage is honorable. We're not keeping that law. As a people, of course, but we're bringing it back. Thus saith the Lord. You found out yet, officer?
Yes. There's a couple of pages that I wanted in. Go back to Nature Knows No Color line real quick. Get me page 49 first. Let's read that. Oh, yeah, it's right there where I wanted to. Right up under there.
Oh, yeah,
yep.
He said leave this for
Yep.
The highlight.
Yes, sir.
If, therefore, there was similar strong dislike for Negroes, would we not have known it too? Dislike for Jews was not based on race. Coming from the east, they were so dark that many Romans took them for Ethiopians.
So you see that? He's talking about us, the Jews. He said dislike for Jews was not based on race. Coming from the east, they were so dark that many Romans took them for Ethiopians. Isn't that what Tacitus said? He said he thought that we were of Ethiopian origin. Mm-hmm. Read on.
The objections were religious, economic, and political.
Now, watch this. Read down. Read on.
Finally, as opposed to instances of color aversion, are others showing none of it. Emperor Augustus used to relax from affairs of state by playing marbles with Moorish children.
This is Caesar Augustus. Remember, we talked about Caesar Augustus, the longest reigning emperor.
Why is he playing with little children?
He playing with little children, little black children, our children. Read it again.
Finally, as opposed to instances of color aversion, are others showing none of it. Emperor Augustus used to relax from affairs of state by playing marbles with Moorish children.
Read on.
Moor was another name for Ethiop.
Moor was another name for Ethiop. So when you look in...
So what you're saying is every time when we call ourselves Moor, we really calling ourselves nigger.
Yeah. Or Ethiop.
Burnt face.
Burnt face. That's what they gave us. All right, go ahead.
Also, figures of Negroes appeared on cameos, bracelets, and other ornaments, and were borne by the wealthy and were on the ointment jars and other accessories on the dressing tables of grand dames. Polsky mentions cameos which depicted Negroes with all the elegance of the imperial epoch, and reproduces one such from his collection. Imagine the like being done by American slave masters and mistresses. Durer cites one Negro cleverly sculptured in polychrome, now in the Louvre.
All right, that's it. Give me page 50.
I mean, they did that during slavery too. They had like the images of the little baby being followed by an alligator.
Yes.
And they had little trinkets here and there,
making fun of us. Blackface. Blackface.
The shows with the blackface.
The blackface. All right, give me page 52. Load that up. The last paragraph.
There is good.
Yep.
There is good reason to believe that certain Negroes and near Negroes rose to be Roman emperors. Indications of this are in the surnames, which were often given then according to some physical characteristic.
Hey, similar, like Acts 13 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, oh, man, let me see. I got this stuff popping up in my head. I'm sorry. Since we about to bring that out. 1 second.
Come to read the script.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Acts chapter 13 and verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger.
That was called what?
Nigger.
So Simeon was called nigger. Simeon was called nigger. Hey, we're gonna do this on the spot right now. Go to Google. I want you to type in Simeon. Okay, Simeon called nigger or Negro.
That's right.
You can put yeah, go ahead. Simon called nigger. Put that in. And go to books. Go down. Go down, go down. Come on. Stop. Hold on.
Encyclopedia.
Where you see that at?
The Bible Encyclopedia.
Yeah. No, go. Well, let me see. Click on right here. Click on unfolding of the word truth. Let me see what that says. Go down. Usually they have a footnote at the bottom. Go, come on. Hold on. All right, go up. All right, go back, go out of that. I can't, it's in my notes. This is off the top right here. You know what? That's all right. Drop it. We'll read about it later. Just go back to page 52. Nature No Color Line.
There is good reason to believe that certain Negroes and near Negroes rose to be Roman emperors. Indications of this are in surnames, which were often given then according to some physical characteristic. It is likely, therefore, that Roman families or descendants of them, bearing names generally given Negroes, originated as such. In Rome, Negroes were first called
Ethiops.
You
see that? In Rome, Negroes were first called Ethiops. All right.
The Romans took that name from the Greeks, who took it from the Africans. Later, more seemed to have come into fashion. This, too, was an African word imported into the Greek to describe black people. That is, Moros, black. The word Mauritania in Greek meant black, says Harper.
Read.
Still later came nigger from the river of that name. It is likely that people from Nigritia, land of the nigger, now Nigeria, brought the word into the language of the Romans, and since they were black-skinned, nigger came to mean black.
Read on.
Originally, the Latin for black was ater.
Go ahead.
But later the terms became interchangeable. This seems sure. Nigger is not originally Latin, as Leake says in his dissertation on the nigger. More than one celebrated writer have fallen into the error of supposing nigger a Latin word. Two other terms were Afar, from Africa, another African word according to Gerald Massey and others, and Fuscus, In the Moretum, the skin of one Negro woman is described as fusca color. As are we to assume that the same word was used for brunette whites as for very dark Negroes?
All right, we could drop that. So in Rome, we were called Ethiop. All right, Negro. They used the word Ethiop for Negro. All right. Now, go to Wikipedia and type in Romans in sub-Saharan Africa. Romans in sub-Saharan Africa. Blow that up. Go down. Now, we brought this out a couple shows back about when we was doing the slave trade, all right? Go to background. Matter of fact, let's read it. Let's read a little bit. Yeah, start up right there between the first century.
Between the 1st century BC and the 4th century AD, several expeditions and explorations to Lake Chad and Western Africa were conducted by groups of military and commercial units of Romans who moved across the Sahara and into the interior of Africa and its coast. The primary motivation for the expeditions was to secure sources of gold and spices. Background: Romans referred to sub-Saharan Africa as Ethiopia.
See that? So Romans referred to sub-Saharan Africa as Ethiopia. Read.
Which referred the people's burned skin. Also,
sub-Saharan Africa is West Africa. Some say it again. Sub-Saharan Africa is West Africa. Read on.
Also,
so the Romans were acquainted with sub-Saharan Africa because they went down into sub-Saharan Africa. Who was there? We were there. Remember the Yoruba, that was of the Northern Kingdom. They went down there during the when the Babylonians started conquering the Syrians. We fled out and ran down into that area. Okay, we had a book showing how we would flee into Egypt and trickle all the way down through generation to generation until we reached Nigeria. All right, and also Southern Kingdom during the Babylonian captivity, we also ran down into Africa, down towards West Africa into Nigeria. All right, go ahead.
Also, Romans had available the memoirs of the ancient Carthage explorer Hanno the Navigator, being referenced by the Roman Pliny the Elder and the Greek Arian of Nicomedia. However, how much they were read, believed, or interesting to the Romans is unknown.
All right, from there, you could get out of that. Now, what other page I had left? I remember you said I had a page. All right, let me see what it says.
Bucolica, Georgia.
Yep.
Ethiops, Ethiopian, burnt face, Negro.
Burnt face, Negro. You could do this all day. You could do this all day. Okay? That's what they called us, man. That was the term. Nigga. Burnt face. All right? Now, give me the map. Watch this map right here we got. Watch this map. What do y'all notice? What does it say? What does the map say? Ethiopian Sea. That's the Atlantic Ocean. And it's on what side? The west coast of, it's on West Africa. Mm-hmm. You see that? Ethiopian Sea, the Black Sea.
The burnt face sea.
The burnt face sea.
The nigga sea.
Hey, however you want to look at it. The colored sea, whatever. But that is because why? Who's over there? We were over there. On the west coast of Africa, we was over there. So they call it the Ethiopian Sea. All right? Now, give me the other map. Watch this. Now, you see here, they got South America. They got the whole Atlantic Ocean here. Now, you're going to have to translate this, officer.
That's not Spanish. That's
that's Latin.
like Latin, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But you could tell what it's saying. On the top right says Mad the Ethiopia.
Go to put the light on
Top
the
left,
right.
my bad.
Okay.
Mad the Ethiopia, Vulgo Oceanus Ethiopicus. That's saying the Sea of Ethiopia, Ethiopian Sea. And you see South America and Africa over here, the western coast. So what's it telling you here? These are all niggas. These are all blacks. These are all burnt faces.
Right. And guess who traveled the Atlantic? We did.
Yep. Right. The Carthaginians. We just
Carthaginians.
read in in Wikipedia how Hanno the navigator, he was one that went all throughout Western Africa, the coast of Africa, and they also came over here to this side of the world.
Right. Right. Remember when Deacon brought out in the 2 promised lands?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In the 2 promised lands, we came over here during the time of King Solomon. So they already knew. That's why they called it the Ethiopian Sea, the Black Sea, because why black people was navigating those seas over there. We was over there. Okay, we were over there. All right. So I think that's all we had on that, right?
Yes, sir.
We ain't had no more pages, right? All right. So, as far as getting into the birth of Christ, we're gonna save that for next week, all right? Because we don't want to start it right now. So we're gonna get into that next week. We're gonna get into the birth of Christ, and the virgin birth, all right? Next week, the birth of Christ and the virgin birth, okay? I think Lord's will. I think Cap will be back next week, but I think we'll be touching on definitely the birth of Christ. All right. So with that, we're going to end the show. Announcements.
You can read it.
Okay. All praises once again, Israel. Let's give a round of applause for that beautiful class, radio show, going over our hidden history that you can only get in IUIC Philadelphia on the radio show, Our Hidden History. We got the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe.
Yo, hold on, man. Why y'all put my man in this predicament? Why y'all put the officer in this predicament?
Hey, it's his show today.
Yeah, it's your show.
Yes, sir.
Yo,
just wing it.
Hey, bring it out, man. Bring it out. Come on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People proud.
So let's subscribe to our IUIC Philadelphia YouTube channel, where you can stay up to speed with our camp videos. We have in the classroom videos also that go on that channel. You also want to stay up to speed with our IUIC Philadelphia in the classroom YouTube channel, along, like I stated earlier, the Our Hidden History radio show YouTube channel also. Make sure you donate to Our Hidden History. You can send your funds to our PayPal account at iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org. Just put in the comment sections OHH.
Yeah.
So the funds can come here. You see the beautiful books that the officer, the captain, and them continue to bring out, so we can continue to feed you guys with that knowledge. Also, if you want to send funds to the Booster Club, you could do so at fundraising@israelunite.org. And lastly, but not least, subscribe to IUIC TV to get exclusive content from our leadership of IUIC.
Also, the land fund that leadership has been pushing. That if you want to donate, give your alms so we could all get a piece of land, so we could come together and not worry about being under Esau's heel when it comes to getting together for these feast days. You could also donate to Israel at israelunite.org and put in the comment section land. All right.
All right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to the sisters for the wonderful breakfast that they made for us this morning. All right. Also, I want to give a shout out to IT, man. Y'all did a very great job. Very good job. All right. So I want to give a shout out to them. Hey, and with that, Israel, we're going to say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.